Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the Buddy and Lisa show, which is going to be the first in a series of episodes about the television series Big Brother.
Yes, we've never done this before. Our thought process is maybe we'll do it not every week, but every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
So we'll start with kind of highlighting our thoughts over this first 2 weeks. Although, knowing Big Brother, if it gets too chaotic, we may have to strip it down to just 1 week at a time.
Yeah, we might.
See.
Yeah, we'll see how this all goes. Where we stand right now, we're recording this on Sunday, July 26th. There will be an episode of the series ending tonight, which will show who the third head of household is and that person's nominations. Because we usually can't help ourselves, we already know who that person is because we saw it online. We often watch the live feeds on Paramount Plus. You can also watch them on Pluto TV. We're not going to get to who the HOH is yet. We'll go back. Let's talk about the first couple weeks of the show.
So, first of all, just season update in general. It's season 28. And for me, I'm fairly newish to Big Brother. I am not a cult follower that followed it from the beginning. I mentioned at the tail end of one of our other episodes that I kind of cringed when anyone mentioned Big Brother. I was a Survivor and Amazing Race fan, big Survivor fan. And I think reluctantly I maybe thought that those fans were a little better than Big Brother, because Big Brother just seemed like trash TV. That's what I related it to.
You're not alone in that.
Until I met my husband, and he somehow convinced me to start watching it, and once I did, I never looked back. It's just, I think, how did I describe it on the other show? It's kind of like a big bucket of your most favorite French fries, topped with your favorite cookies, drizzled with your favorite sauce, and somehow it's not disgusting, it's delicious, and you keep eating it even though you know it's not good for you.
That's a perfect description.
And that's my description of Big Brother.
Yeah. And now, we've been married. This year will be our 12th anniversary. I think we probably started watching it 8 or 9 years ago together, something like that. We skipped a previous season, and not this season that's on, obviously, because we're talking about it, but I think the one before we didn't watch for whatever. We think we tuned in and we weren't interested at that time.
I think also I was still in school. I was in grad school, and life was kind of crazy, and you can only fit so much. Like, reality shows and grad school just don't go together, so.
No, they don't. Now, I am a little bit more old school than Lisa with it, but I was not devout. Devout's a religious term, but I guess some people are like that with reality shows. I watched probably the first 5 or 6 seasons pretty religiously, and I paid for the live feed back then. It was well before there was Paramount Plus. You had to do it through some other service, but that was back in the original Dr. Will, who has become a legendary, iconic character, and some others, Mike Boogie and some others that were on there. But I got away from it for many years, and then we watched it together, and it's been a blast watching it together. We weren't sure if we were going to watch this season, but then we tuned into the season premiere, and we're like, well,
I think what did it, one thing that intrigued me is if you dangle some Survivor players. I mean, like, I had to watch the season that had Suri in it, because I love Suri, iconic everything player, obviously got her start on Survivor, but I absolutely had to see Devens. I love Devens. Rick Devens is amazing. He was obviously did not win Survivor, but he was an icon of his own making. And Dee, I call her Big Toe Dee, and that's not to be mean. She actually called herself Big Toe on Survivor because she introduced herself to people and said that her big toes were really, really big. They put the big in Big Toe.
Yeah, and she was the winner of, I want to say, 2 or 3 seasons ago. Yeah, we watched that season and really liked it.
Dangerous player.
Yeah,
so
she was brilliant.
We'll kind of talk about her, and she actually, I guess we'll just go into...
Let's go into
the start of this episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1.
So week 1, the HOH was Dee.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising at all. She is a little bit... I think sometimes women not characters, but players are just like at large underestimated.
Yeah.
Even when people say, "Oh, she's really good at comps and she's
Yeah.
really good at this," they still just downplay it a little bit.
Yeah.
Which in some ways helps players like her. I mean, she's like so strategic, and that's been one thing that's been really interesting for me watching her these first couple weeks. Is she is on 100% of the time.
All the time.
There is such a juxtaposition between her and Devens and Angela, who I absolutely detested the first time I met her when she played with the whole crazy eyes thing. But I've actually come to like her, and I'm kind of rooting for her on this.
Yeah,
on this,
I can't believe I'm
season.
saying it, but I am too. Yeah.
But I mean, you can tell a difference between those three and everyone else who's new to this, because even though, like, Angela, obviously Big Brother is not new to her, but it is new to Devens and Dee. But they have that survivor mindset. You know, they're not new to playing with other people in reality shows, and they're here. Like, I mean, I remember Dee. She got into a somewhat of a showmance on the season that she was on. I can't remember the other character, but I mean,
can't either.
She cut him. I mean, she basically said, "Look, I'm here to win money. I want to win $1 million."
Which is smart, because so many people go on these various reality shows. They'll be like, "Oh, I could never go against so and so." I'm not talking about showmances, but even friendships. I could never do that. They mean so much to me. I'm like, okay, you just met like a couple weeks ago, probably, and you are there to win a lot of money. Yeah. So it's nice to have people you care about. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But boy, there's some more. We're going to go into an interesting direction with that in a little while. But yeah, I really admire Dee for that. She had her mission, and she played that season beautifully. And
so her noms for week 1 were Yash, Mallory, and Taylor. And of course, Mallory ended up beast moding her way through the power of veto vote with the pipes challenge, which she kind of even forecasted that she was going to. She saw it and she was like, "This is my challenge," because she's really good at hyper focusing and with spatial puzzles.
Well, in real life, she's a rocket scientist. She didn't let the contestants know that, but we know that. So you could see like how her analytical mind was really trying to figure out how to do things, and she did it.
Focused on it and really did very well with that. And then obviously they have the so she took herself down from the block, and Dee renommed Ashley, who was the bartender from Chicago.
That's right.
Well, I'm kind of sad. I know I kind of laughed at her the first 5 seconds I saw her when she entered the house, because I was like, oh, dear God. And, I mean, in her defense, she's 24. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of surprised she's 24, because she kind of acted like she was 22. But I actually liked her, and I kind of wish that she had been able to stay a little bit longer. I felt like she could have actually been a really good player.
And I believe I think it was before the process all happened, but it might have been after she left, where Dee said, unfortunately for her, she never really was talking strategy.
Yeah.
She was very friendly, quite charming with everyone. She had a good sense of humor, but it didn't seem like it, at least openly, was playing the game as intently as others were.
Now, I think that mindset actually could potentially come to hurt Dee and Devens.
Yes.
Because I think, and this is where maybe Angela might be able to at least have some enduring power there, because while I commend the strategy talk, and strategy is a big part of, a thing, I think Big Brother is very much a social game.
Oh, yeah.
Social games usually outplay the strategy games, because, and I think that's one of the key differences of Survivor is just set up very differently, and they have those tribal councils which are very different, and I think strategy is a big thing there, because there is so much like kind of one-upping one another and trying to set traps for other people, where Big Brother is kind of about, the social game. I mean, to me, it's that's one of the things I kind of like about it, because you do get to see how that, emotional connection that people forge together, being locked in a house together for 3 months, kind of changes it.
What I've found to be very interesting is when we've seen Lisa had mentioned how there have been some people on this season, and even like Suri in the past, who had previously been on Survivor. That doesn't happen every season, of course, on Big Brother. Mm-hmm. But when it has, it's been interesting to see some of the former Survivor players say that in a lot of ways they found this more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because, while, you are in a house here that's not even a real house. It's more like on a studio set. But it's still, for all purposes, a house. And on Survivor, you're on some island. But here, you're not really alone ever. Yeah. And you've got cameras on you 24 hours a day, and people are constantly, they've got their little alliance groups, and they're strategizing, and there's competition. There's multiple competitions every week. They said, like Suri, I think, said it was harder than Survivor at times.
Well, Survivor said, she said that being a have-not was nothing. Any Survivor, I think, would tell you that being a have-not is not a big deal.
Yeah.
That Big Brother doesn't know what being a have-not is, because go to a remote island where you may not have fire, you may not have rice, because in the new era of Survivor, they do not give them rice at the beginning of it, which was one thing. As a side note, I was kind of interested that the fans voted to not give them rice on the last.
On the big
season.
Survivor 50, which we started to watch, but then we lost interest.
Yeah. But anyway, so Yash ended up winning the blockbuster. So the final noms were Ashley and Taylor. And Taylor was able to, I think because Taylor had a better, more robust, varied social game, she was able to get the votes. And I think because the big alliances who have formed, namely the crossovers, and I'm pretty sure the Red Corner the Red Corner was formed pretty early. I can't remember if the Red Corner was week 2 or week 1, but I know the crossovers and the red corner were formed pretty close together, which was the vast majority of the house. So they were all voting together, and if they were listening to Dee's wishes about, I just don't have a connection with Ashley, I think a lot of other people didn't have it.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if that hyper-focusing of strategy and scheming might come back to hurt. I know Dee at least said, look, we need to start kind of making sure we're not always in the corner together, particularly her, Devens and Angela, because they have the icon, kind of target on their back. But I think Angela honestly has been doing the best job about integrating herself, for good or for bad, into the house. And, Devens, I see him kind of stand off in the corner, and I think you can get away with that more on Survivor than you can in the Big Brother house. It's kind of more obvious if you're just standing there never talking to people.
It's interesting because, obviously they're both people who have experience being on the shows. Angela had been on a season, I guess it was maybe 2-3 seasons ago, where she was quite a polarizing personality. A lot of people just despised her, and we fell into that category for a while ourselves, and then other people just loved her. But her and Devens, they have been doing it differently, and they're both older too. I think she's in her 50s. I think he's somewhere in his 40s. It's been interesting to watch, and like you said too, as far as the first week noms went. I don't know if maybe it was smart to get everyone to have Ashley leave because, she was up against Taylor. And you and I have said, and I think we even saw some of the people who have already been evicted say that Taylor's playing a really good game.
She's playing a winner's game.
She is.
To be honest, she's playing more of a winner's game even than Dee is. And I think she's going to be even. And what gives her an up is she doesn't have the target on her back like Dee is. Look, everybody. Like Dee even said, I'm going to gun it and I'm going to go to win every single competition I can. And I don't care if that puts a target on my back because I already have a target on my back. Yeah. I'm just going to plow through to try to get to the end. My initial hypothesis and forecast is she's not going to make it very far.
Which one, Dee?
Dee. I think it's going to come back to bite her. I don't think Devens is going to make it to the end. I would love a Survivor person to make it to the end, but I think unless she loses her cool, but she lost her cool last time and she made it pretty far.
Yeah, it's true.
Think Angela she's honest, she's out there, and she says I am the way I am, and I do have to give her credit. She acknowledged the things that she didn't handle well the first season, and she really is trying to make an effort.
She's grown.
And even anyone who has seen now, well, obviously, if you're listening to this, you're only going to tune in because you have watched it, but the big nomination ceremony in week 2 with Devens, where she kind of, blows up and reveals some things, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But, I think even the way she did that wasn't the way that she blew up in the other. It was more like a fact-sharing thing, kind of laying it all on the line. Like, look, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to let it out, because that's the way I am, and I kind of want everyone to know where I stand with things. And I think even Jason, who was the target that she was looking at, respected her. He tried to push back against it, but in the end he was like, well, you're right, you got me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's been really, really quite interesting so far. So that was the first week.
Yeah, and I think going back to the Ashley comment, I think there was something missed there. See, she's looking at it as, I think of, pressure luck, where Elizabeth always says, when you're in the bonus rounds at the end and you get an extra spin, a lot of people are like, oh, that means I might get a whammy again. But she's like, no, it's another opportunity to win big.
Yes.
I think there's another way to look at someone who hasn't talked to you about strategy. That more than likely means they're not aligned with anyone. And what does that mean? It could be someone that you could pull over to your side to help you.
Yeah.
Because you have to be, realistic enough to know that these other people who are on your alliance, namely ones like Drew, are going to go find other people to have their own spin-off alliances with. That's the name of the game. That's just the way that it is. So I think there was a missed opportunity to pull her in where Taylor is really the more dangerous one.
I agree. And Taylor, you've seen this. Well, you see it in Big Brother and on other reality shows, where sometimes the ones who seem to be off to the side sometimes or not getting into the dramatic moments with others who a lot of people call them floaters, which I think is sometimes it's warranted, but I think it's very often not warranted. She's not a floater. She's aware of everything that's going on. She might not be joining one of the 57 alliances that are out there right now. Well, she probably is on one of them.
Well, we saw her kind of form one with Dee and Angela and Lala.
That's right.
So Dee, Angela, Lala, and her, and they are the Honor Society.
That's it, the Honor Society.
Yes,
I like
the Honor
that.
Society.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think that happened just at the tail end of the last
You're right.
last episode or the episode before.
Yeah.
But, so I think there was a missed opportunity with that. And then it was kind of crazy as a Survivor fan to see Devens then win for week 2.
I know.
Now, what's actually really hilarious, we hadn't, I knew that he had won. Yeah. But we
heard that before we watched the show.
We heard it before we watched it. And I'm sitting there thinking he's of the D mindset where he's just going to go in and gun it. And I was really confused at the beginning of the episode when he was like, oh, well, I actually don't want this. And he said that he was going to throw it
to Haley.
But then Haley mucked it up, and he ended up, he was not trying at all, and he won. Yeah. So he was like, well, okay.
So from there, he gave being the HOH his all, with in terms of the strategizing and everything.
Yeah. And so his noms were Jason, Lyric, and Melody. And that all came about, which is what caused the big blow up at the nom table, because there was a couple different upsettedness and blow ups, as he said that really, basically he was like, Rome is the target here. Yeah. And Rome had come up to the HOH with a list. Rome is really ballsy. I'm kind of sad that he's not there, because I actually kind of like him. Yeah. He annoyed me sometimes, and the whole Lyric thing, we'll get into that at some point here. But he goes up there. He's pretty ballsy, because he goes up there and he's like, okay, well, I need you to keep these 6 people safe. And it's like, okay, well, it's not your HOH yet. Yeah. And basically Devens was like, well, I
can't give you that money.
I can't give you that. Right. And so he pares it down shockingly to his showmance, Lyric, and I think was it Melody?
Melody, yeah.
I think Lyric and Melody. Yeah. But he and Devin said, well, what about Lala? And he said, well, I don't want Lala to go up. And of course that got a little bit mistreated. He did not say he was fine with her being served on a silver platter, but that's how, unfortunately, Angela
presented it, which made Lala cry.
And then Lala was very upset by that because she felt a kinship with Rome. But of course, also in the first week, what brought up the big blow up was a 2-part thing between Angela and Jason. And I have to say, the first interaction between them was extremely touching.
It was,
because Jason was talking about how, like, they were just checking in with each other, like, how you doing, how's it feeling so far, and he was kind of feeling a little awkward, I think, to a certain extent. Maybe some of that was acting, because I know he's trying to keep under the rug that he was on RuPaul's Drag Race. He's openly a drag performer, but not to that extent. He has not said that he's been on another show before. And but I don't know, I believed what he was saying, is that he kind of has always felt awkward in life. He's never felt like it's been easy to find his people. Like, he's built his whole life with his people around him, and Angela was very, like, kind and supportive and said, look, my son is gay, and shared kind of some intimate details about that, and they hugged and they talked a little bit, and I really thought that was great.
I did too, and I thought that one of the parts about that I thought was most touching and to a large degree heartbreaking was that he had told Angela that his mother had recently passed away.
Yeah, that was the second part of it.
And then he was viewing her as sort of like his mother figure in the house.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought that what a connection we're seeing here.
Yeah, it was just such a wonderful thing, and she said, oh my God, I'm here for you, blah, 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 and then when she left to go back out into the house, he looked at the camera, winked and laughed, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, he just played her. And I was like, that's kind of like, look, everybody plays each other in these games,
that's to be expected.
But there are lines to be drawn, and I thought manipulating her emotions in that regard, like, I give him props. I mean, he was trying to think strategically and try to be he
knows that she's a big player, and to, like, kind of pull one over on a big player, you kind of want to do that sometimes.
But I think, like, I don't know, bringing up your dead mom about it. So she, of course, didn't know that happened until Jason made the mistake of going around the house to his little friends, namely, I think it was Mallory and Drew. Mallory and Drew were sitting there, and he was telling them, laughing about it. And of course, he doesn't realize that Drew is a part of the big crossovers thing.
Right.
So Drew is close with Devens and Angela and all that. So he went to go tell them that. And look, you should know. You should absolutely know. Reality TV, these people, like, you don't know who they're working for. Loose lips sink ships.
Exactly.
And so, of course, he said that. Drew went and told that, and Angela was heartbroken.
We saw her in the diary room talking about it, and she was crying, and you could tell it was sincere, because she, really had tried to be there for him.
But she didn't let it get to her. She you could see her at multiple occasions trying to, you gotta pull it back, you gotta do it. So she pulled it back as much as she could until, somewhat hilariously, she was wearing an egg detective costume.
Oh my God.
And decided to, confront that. And Jason tried to get a little extra dramatic and extra,
like you said, during the
nom ceremony that Devens kept desperately trying to end, but the argument kept happening. And
one of multiple arguments.
And then Rome and Haley seemed to be at it, and it just so of course well, for that, did we say Devens put up Jason lyric melody?
Yes.
Devens ended up winning the veto.
Yeah, he won the veto.
And so he, true to his word of what he wanted to do, took lyric down. Which I still think
was a mistake.
Absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
We thought for sure he was going to take melody down.
And it makes no sense. Like, no offense to lyric. Like, look, I'm going to say this about the showmance. I'm not a big showmance person, because again, I feel like you should go on a play, but I also know what it feels like to meet someone if you legitimately feel the way. Like, I don't know, if I had met you on a game show, I probably would have been like, I don't care about the money. I might have just met like the love of my life. And if that is true, and I said this, if Rome and Lyric truly did just meet each other's compatible soulmates, then you won.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
absolutely.
whether
Yeah.
or not you walk away with it. Screw your game,
Yeah.
mess it up, leave, go get married, and live
Yeah.
your life and be happy.
And it looks like at least one of them is
Feels
walking
that
on
way.
air. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't make sense to me with as gung ho as Rome potentially could have been with a blockbuster. It didn't make sense to me. At the end of the day, you should have at least had the goal of trying to break up the showmance, to try to upend his power, and leaning on dragging emotions into it. If you could have seen the way that they were acting with each other, then you knew that Rome had a powerful connection with Lyric, and that if you disrupted that, you potentially would disrupt his ability to own the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it was super risky, and I was like, Lyric doesn't play this game.
No.
I don't know what kind of, I know what kind of lawyer she is, but I mean, she's obviously a very young one, and she's not playing this game very strategically.
And you and I, while we were watching one of the episodes, or maybe it was the live feed, we said that, it would have been interesting to see what she had been like if she didn't automatically. It was day 2 that those two were all over each other, her and Rome.
Yeah.
If that had not happened, would we have seen a little bit more from her?
I have seen absolutely nothing. Yeah. Contrary to that, we have Melody, because that's what he was going back and forth with. He didn't want to take Jason off because he felt like Jason was absolutely going to come after him. I didn't necessarily see that, and some of the other house guests basically said, "I don't know, man. I think he might be willing to work with you." But then, so the real thing for him dilemma was: do I pull off Lyric and put Rome up, or do I pull off Melody? Now, Devin's mindset was, well, in the event that Rome wins the blockbuster and comes back into the house, he maybe his hatred for me might be softened because I saved Lyric. Okay, well, you're an idiot. No.
Yeah.
He's going to come after you regardless because you tried to upend his game.
Mm-hmm.
And the most brilliant part of if he had pulled down Melody is a strategic player who was actively looking at leaving that other side of the house. She was basically like, I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
Come get me. And yes, she could have been lying about it, but...
Yeah.
He believed Lyric over her. And Melody was so serious. She was basically like, I mean, she ended, because he chose Lyric to come down, Melody's like, if I win, I'm going to go after you.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going to go after you because you created an enemy.
Yeah.
But how amazing would it have been in the blockbuster if Rome had been forced to compete against Lyric?
Yeah, I know. That probably would have, not that you ever want to see anyone hurting or struggling, but that would have probably played with his game a little bit.
Yeah.
And
it would have kind of messed that up. I mean, it was a moot point because Jason, I think, is one that's going to be underestimated a little bit,
Jason was amazing.
He was a beast in that.
Yeah,
and
he finished that so quickly.
He almost won the veto.
Yeah.
2 puzzle challenges, like that puzzle challenge for the veto, I mean... He punched in, seconds, like milliseconds after Devens did.
Mm-hmm.
So he was right on the heels there. So I think he's going to be more of a threat than maybe people might be automatically
and I think
assuming.
I agree, and I think Devens did go in the wrong direction with that.
I just think that's going to bite him.
Yeah, he was trying to appease Rome to a degree. He tells everyone that would listen that how much he admires Rome, even though he wanted to get rid of him because he viewed him as a threat. But apparently Rome had even asked Devens at one point. He goes, "Hey, if it comes down to it, I'd like you to pull Lyric off, so that we don't have to one of us can stay or something." However he worded it. But Devens was trying to please too many people, particularly Rome, and I think he should have went in the other direction.
I think that just didn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, Melody she's actively been strategizing. Lyric literally just flirts with people. I don't mean to be mean, but like there is really not a lot of substance going on there so far.
Yeah.
I hope she proves me wrong.
I know, maybe we'll be proven wrong.
And maybe I should be thinking, let's talk about the fact that once he was evicted, what was it, 5-10 minutes after practically he left the house, she's crying, but then she's like rubbing her head up against like Yash, and they kind of called her out with flirting.
Oh yeah, I remember you said you had seen people talking about it online, like the next, like you said, almost hours afterward.
And I was like, seriously? And I was like, is this going to be your strategy that you want a guy to protect you and you're just going to flirt? Look, it is a strategy. Yeah. If you're a cute, attractive young thing and you flirt really well, if she was using her flirtations in a strategic manner, like if I saw her then with other like women or groups of people saying, "Oh my God, it's so easy. I've got this like dude eating out of my hands."
Yeah.
But the first moment I have, I'm going to take them out.
And who was she doing that to? Camus or no?
I think it was Camus.
Yeah.
No, not Camus. Yash.
Okay.
I think it was Yash. Or it wouldn't have been Drew, because Drew kind of hangs around with Melody a lot. I think. But that kind of just I don't see a lot of strategy.
Yeah.
And to me, I always want someone that has some level of outward strategy to not win it, because I just feel like, oh gosh, all these other people, really put a lot to it. And I realize the whole floater mentality, I guess, is a strategy, but
it's going to be interesting to see. Well, obviously, Rome was the one who was voted out. Yes. I think he got one vote for him to stay.
Oh, and that was kind of drama, too.
Yeah, it was drama, too, because when he left the house, he came out to talk to Julie, and she's like, well, you got one vote. And he's like, well, I'm pretty sure I know who that is, thinking it was Lyric. And Julie's like, no, it wasn't Lyric. And he was like, well, because right before he walked out, he pretty much told everyone, look, I'm not going to be doing hugs and everything right now, because he wanted to focus on Lyric.
Yeah.
And it was a really touching goodbye.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
they had some nice kisses and declarations of love. But then he was really surprised to find out she voted for him to be evicted. Now, she says, and I believe her, that it was a strategic thing. She figured if the House was voting him out, she didn't want to be on the wrong side of that for going forward.
And who was the one who gave the vote? Someone we were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
That people are not paying attention to, which is Taylor.
Yeah.
Because she basically was like, now and this, of course, made Lyric say, everyone is going to think that I'm the one who threw that vote, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And
she's not telling people that
telling people that, Taylor, I don't think really had any devious intentions with that. I think she was, what do they call it, a hinky vote? Basically like, I'm giving you support so you don't feel like the whole house
she said that, I think,
you.
in the diary room to the cameras.
But then when the whole thing happened with Lyric, I think in her head she was thinking, well, I'm just going to maybe not own that up. I'm just going to kind of keep that to myself. And I was like, she's doing really good.
That's right. We learned a little bit more when we were watching, was it Unlocked? Is that what it's called? Big Brother Unlocked, which is on the night afterward. And that's kind of been more fun than I expected it to be. They show some kind of neat things on there.
I think they have a good cast grouping. I think and I think the layout of the show is a little bit different than what because we admittedly didn't turn into the previous incantations of that show.
I think one thing that probably helps it is that it's got that actor Jerry O'Connell, who's been involved with multiple shows now. As one of the co-hosts, and he's good, along with Taylor Hale, and I think Derek is the guy's name. We didn't watch Big Brother when he was on it, but I know he's a fan favorite. And they have guests on there. It's worth watching.
Taylor does a nice job.
Taylor does a really nice job.
She's a good host. As far as announcer, talk about that. She was one that unfortunately. I wasn't quite sure. I felt like she had really done enough to own winning it. But I'll tell you, her speech at the end, right before they voted, was amazing. That
was amazing. And if anyone had been watching and wasn't a Taylor supporter at that point, there was no way you couldn't think that she didn't deserve to win.
I felt like standing up and slow clapping and giving her a standing
really
ovation.
Good. I can't remember who she was. This was 3-4 seasons ago at this point, but she deserved to win that season she was on. And it was. I remember it very, very well. It was like the first or second week you saw. I think it was most of the women in the house had a problem with her because they thought she was doing a lot of flirting.
Yes,
and they were saying that we need to get her out of here. Yeah. And she ended up on the block week after week.
And she kept winning. She became like this comp beast at the end of it. And then, I think even at the end, it wasn't 100% solidified that she was going to be the one. But I think her speech is what blew it blew it home, because I remember, again, I can't remember who she was up against, but what they said in comparison to her was like, I was like, oh my God, like this is like a professional speech here that she's giving. It was really good.
And what was nice about it, one of the many nice things about it is, first of all, she deserved to win that season. Yeah. But also, it was groundbreaking because I believe she was the first black person to win, or a black woman. I'm not sure.
Black woman, I think.
Yeah, maybe there had been one male.
Because, yes, there was a male that we liked, I think a season or two before that.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
But, so good for her.
On his name,
yeah, me too. But yeah, getting back to this current season, so where we stand right now is
well, tonight will be the HOH competition, which, spoiler alert, we know who the HOH is, which is Yamu, and I am so stoked to actually watch this competition because he's an MMA fighter and I think coach.
I believe he is a coach and
this
trainer.
Is like some sort of wrestling match.
Yeah, they showed it, just the opening minute or so of it on the Unlock show the other night, where they had some previous Big Brother player had been in there, where he was all dressed up and like they actually, one of the things they're doing this season, if you're watching, is the whole time travel thing.
Yes.
And they went back to the 80s, which is when you had these really outlandish things on pro wrestling on TV. All the Hulk Hogan stuff, where it was really they made it was very scripted, a lot of it, and it was very dramatic, and that's what this looks like too. And they had these players dressed up, and didn't some of our people come out dressed like they were playing? Yeah, that's right. All the contestants, they're dressed in different costumes, and it's going to be interesting to see.
And as
how
soon
it
as I
plays
saw
out.
that, well, you kind of made a joke. You were like, "Oh, he would never live it down in this type of competition if he didn't win."
You got this MMA fighter who comes out and does.
And I have to say, I probably stereotypically kind of judged him a little bit when he came in. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be like the meathead jock, fighter guy." But I actually really like him, and I'm kind of curious to see how his HOH is going to go.
Oh, me too. And I admit I am unfair about this sometimes too, but sometimes when I see jocks in these kinds of things, I get turned off immediately by like any cockiness I might say. And that's probably in large part because I was not a jock growing up, and sometimes I felt like the nerd who got picked last on things. But that's how I felt about Rome at first too. I'm like, because he definitely had that win. I'm so good looking. I'm so athletic.
He plays pickleball.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the MMA.
But yeah, the little bit I know of Camus so far, and certainly we're going to learn a lot more of him over the coming week since he's HOH. That's one of the nice things about HOH. You see them up in their HOH room. Yeah. You learn more and more about how they think and how they live. And I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like him.
Yeah.
I don't know who is. I know he's already picked his noms. We will, of course, everyone finds out watching it tonight, but I don't know who they are. We've kind of avoided that.
Yeah.
And when we're done this, we're going to put it on the live feed. So
we kind of have to.
Yeah.
And the one person that I don't know, we haven't seen too much. She hasn't been the focal point of the feeds when we've put it on there, and she also hasn't been a big focal point in a lot of the discussions, only like side arguments like with the big blow up at the noms, which is Haley.
Yes.
I don't know. Something tells me that I think I may like Haley.
Yeah.
I don't know yet something about her. Not enough. It's still kind of early days to kind of see how that unfolds.
I think I might like her too. She's
and I think Drew. Oh my God! You talk about my two top people. I think at this point, if I had to make some like rogue hypothesis as to the ones who might be gunning to win it and potentially take it home, it would be Taylor from the female perspective and Drew. Yeah. I think the two of them are, if anything, they should be getting the two of them out.
Yeah.
Because I think like Drew is working, if he can keep juggling all the 586 million alliances and groups that he is doing, he is like a little mastermind. And
he's one that I underestimated at first too, because you saw him in the first episode.
Hilarious.
He is hilarious. But I remember he had within the first few minutes of them being in the house, he had annoyed Melody.
Yeah.
And now they're really tight because she just thought he wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
And he's he plays up the fact that he's the young California guy. He's 22. He's actually a surgical dental assistant. But he's funny. But he's friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it seems sincere. He really gets along with people, but he's strategizing, and some of them are like Devens and Dee know how good he is.
Yes.
And so they're going to keep an eye out for him. They like him.
Yeah.
But Devens is worried that he might have a budding showmance with Melody. I don't know about that.
I see like an attraction there, but I don't think it's anything to worry about as much as like the Rome lyric thing, which is why I didn't understand why he wanted to put himself in a situation where the two of them might be in the house together still.
Yeah.
I was like, isn't that the whole point, that you want to break the showmance up? I mean, isn't that like reality show 101?
Right.
Because those two have a number one and a number two automatically built in, so you don't want that.
But if you don't mind, let's talk about some of the other players that we haven't mentioned. There's some that are kind of like flying under the radar to a degree, I think. What are your thoughts on Barrett?
I like Barrett.
I like Barrett, too.
He's quirky.
Yeah, he's very quirky.
I think he's smart. Because he realizes, like, I'll never forget when he got woken up, and he was in a have-not, I think, for the week on those damn twirling beds that I would be vomiting.
That's right, because there was a meeting up in the HOH room.
Yeah, the ballsy meeting, where basically Devens and Dee were like, go wake this person up, and they were not hiding it at all.
No.
And meanwhile, the, like, 5 other people left in the house were very cognizant. Like, remember, Rome was like,
in the kitchen with some others.
What is going on? Yeah. And so Barrett walks into the HOH room, and he realizes he is literally the last person that they went to go wake up. And so he mentioned that. He's like, I know where I am in the totem pole. So, I think he's I think he might be another one that might be underestimated because people are looking at him and thinking, oh, he's kind of weird, you know, blah, blah, blah.
He's a little quirky, like you said. Yeah.
Thinking of weird and quirky, and I wasn't sure. I go through different feelings.
I know what you're going to say,
which is Mallory.
Yeah, Mallory.
Mallory, the rocket scientist.
Yeah.
She's a little quirky, and we saw a tiny little potential. Maybe there might be interest between those two. And I was like, okay,
there was some kind of chemistry
there.
What?
And I had actually said that. I said that these two should hook up together because they're kind of both a little quirky and unique. And I'm there for that if that happens.
I like her. I mean, we saw her because the first week Dee was. I remember her going to Dee was HOH, and it was one of the most awkward conversations I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to talk strategy at all, and she's very, very young. She's 24 years old, but she's never done this kind of thing before. But when she went up to talk to Dee, who she knew was a champion, she was talking about like wanting to go to all 50 of the states. She wasn't talking a game at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fine to talk about that kind of stuff.
Which to the point of what she used against Ashley made no sense. Yeah. She said, well, you never talk strategy. Well, neither did this girl. Yeah. So why didn't you put her up?
Yeah. Yeah, I think in some ways, I remember Dee almost felt a little sorry for her because she felt like she could tell she was nervous and such. But then we saw her kick butt in that where she ended up winning the power of veto. That's what it was, the power of veto. I like her. I think she could go further too. I think now she's been there a couple of weeks. She seems to be more comfortable in there with everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see her gameplay.
Yeah, and she's kind of sidled up with
Melody. Oh, yes, her and Melody.
So I think, that's a potentially good, I wish the two of them would just leave Lyric behind because I think she's going to drag them through the trenches a little bit. Unless I'm open for her to prove me wrong.
Oh, me too. What's going to be interesting to see is if there's any escalation of what you heard about in terms of Lyric with the flirting. Yes. Because I think most people, even though they voted Rome out, they did like Rome. Yes. I think if people are going to see, if it's true that she is like openly already moving on and like just blatantly using another person.
It sends a big message about loyalty in general to people.
So that's going to turn other people off. So maybe Melody and Mallory will not be so crazy about her. Yeah. So again, prove us wrong, Lyric.
I would like them to get together. Someone else that I like, we haven't brought up too
Chunk?
much. I know, I was just going to say Chuck. That, oh my God, our eyes played tricks on us when
the
we
very
saw
first
the
night.
name
Yeah.
show up, and I was like, oh God, who names their son Chunk? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh God, it's Chuck. CHUK.
Yeah.
No.
There's C in there. But
There's no C and there's no N.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, probably because he's kind of he's not chunky by any
No,
means.
he's
He's
he
very
works out,
very
yeah.
muscular.
Yeah, another one, like you said, we don't see him so much.
Yeah, but I think I like him.
Yeah.
And I think he had a little bit of an interest or whatever in Taylor, maybe.
Oh, yeah,
maybe a
that's
bit.
right,
But,
yeah.
That was I like Lala. Lala can be a little over the top sometimes.
She's got a very strong personality.
Very strong personality, but she's I'm curious to see where the Honor Society goes. Them teaming up together. I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I think she's a great, great inspiration. She looks fantastic.
Yeah, she does. She's 57 years old.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought that. Jason,
Oh God! I have to give him props.
me
I was
too,
really
yeah.
mad about what he did, but you know what? At the end, he owned it.
He owned it.
And he's
Yeah.
a pretty damn good competitor.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if maybe he can find some sort of way to maybe, I don't know, use the power of his kind of boisterous personality in a good way to not, harm his game too much.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's got to find some sort of middle ground where, and maybe, and you always want to stay true to who you are, but maybe tone down some of the things where I think it's funny, we had seen in the Unlocked show some of his very close friends from the drag community watching it, where I think one or two of them had even said, okay, you got to keep that one part of your personality under control while you're playing the game.
Well, and he kind of in a kind of sweet and somewhat emotional thing, he even admitted that one of the reasons why he wanted to come here is he absolutely knows who he is as a drag queen.
Yeah.
But he said, I don't really know who I am.
I don't know
as
who
a
Jason
person.
is.
I don't know who Jason is.
I can't remember what his drag name is.
That's a little, it's a little sad, to that. So I think in some ways this could be a really interesting season, provided he's able to stay on and not piss off people too much, is we could really see the evolution and kind of rebirthing of Jason.
Yeah. That's really, that would be really wonderful to watch.
Really cool. Really cool to see. And then the other person we didn't talk about too much except on the periphery was Yash.
Yeah.
I go through different things with him. Sometimes I like him. Sometimes I think he's one of the ones I'm up in the air on.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself, all these people, it's funny, I look at 24 and I'm like, really? You're 24?
And most of the cast members are in their 20s, looks like.
They all make me think that's way older than I thought they were. They kind of seem like, I don't know, 21-year-olds to me.
And I hate to say it, but some of the scenes that I've seen of him so far, could I say versions of the word scene anymore there? It was him sitting around with some of the other young men who were like the athletic bro, let's go attitude. And while I'm not putting that aspect of them down necessarily, to me they in some ways seemed interchangeable.
Yes.
Some of them.
Yes.
So I don't think I've learned enough yet about Yash.
Yeah, I think Yash and Chuck, I like certain elements about them, and I think there could be potential there. I need to know more. I think Kamu has started to kind of unearth himself a little bit, because I saw him come up to Devens and talk to him quite a bit when he was HOH. So I was like, I think there's something there, you know?
And there was something, a scene that we also saw of Kamu with Drew that kind of endeared me a little bit to him, because I would think on the surface he would be the kind of, if I was looking at him as just like the MMA tough guy, I don't want anything to do with you skinny little nerd.
Right.
I would think that he wouldn't be so cool with Drew. And again, that's unfair of me. I don't know these people.
And also I think it's good to remember that he actually coaches people.
He coaches people,
it's not like he's just like this meathead that's going and fighting with people. I mean, I think this is his livelihood and what he does. So,
exactly. Well, weren't they saying that they thought that they would be a good final two together? Or maybe it was Drew and Kamu?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Drew might have also said it with Barrett at some point.
They're all doing
Drew,
it to
I know,
everyone.
and especially Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting.
It's been really good so far.
I have really enjoyed it. I mean, do I cringe sometimes at some of the things Big Brother does? A little bit. Like the whole like time thing where they're all around the table.
So it's just so cheesy.
But to what I said at the end of our other episode is I have to give, one of the reasons why Survivor, I hate to say it, was starting to get a little boring for me, was it lost something from the OG, like, original days where it was different islands that they went to, and they changed up some of the competitions a little bit more. I mean, it's like the same flipping
another
puzzles
puzzle
over and over and over.
Look, it's going to say Survivor, blah, 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 whatever the theme is for the season.
Yeah, there's like a couple little twists and turns, but I have to give Big Brother credit that even though it's ludicrous, they have some ridiculous, T-Rexes eating potential... contestants or pushing them into volcanoes to die.
I know. One thing that I love was a couple of seasons ago where they had, I think it was like some AI character that was running things. I remember there was a song that it played over and over again while they were outside.
And the
was it
Janky
or something like that?
Yeah, Janky.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and it was driving the contestants crazy. I mean, they'll have little themes, where some things are really good.
It's time to party.
Yeah.
It's time to make pizza.
I'm your best friend. Yeah, it was driving them nuts.
Yeah, but then it didn't it get I don't know, boiled and waxed or something at the end, and they were all really upset about it, but then they made sure that it came back at the end, and
exactly.
They were like, oh, I hate you. But
and one thing neat that they're doing this season too, if you're watching it, and I'm sure you are, is that they've got this thing where you can vote for people to receive either a punishment, one of the previous punishments from the past years of Big Brother, or one of the powers.
Yeah.
And, for example, that's what happened with Angela, where it was apparently in a previous season, which I don't remember, someone had to wear this costume.
The egg detective.
The egg detective, where you wear this giant egg, and that was a punishment. What was it the week before? Was that a punishment, too, or did someone win a...
She's the first one.
Oh, she was the first one. That's right.
She's the first one.
That's right. So we find out tonight.
Who went. Now, I can't wait to the Lord of the Latrine.
Oh, yeah, they showed that on the Unlocked. They showed what the one.
Yeah,
that was when I remember it was Derek, the guy who ended up being involved with Claire for years. And he had to dress up in this sort of costume, like back in the olden days, where not a court jester, but someone who was blowing a bugle every time someone had to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
If it was 2 a.m, they woke, and someone said they had to go to the bathroom. He got woken up,
so he had to go play the horn
and then make an announcement.
As to who was going to the bathroom.
Yeah, and that is going to be a potential punishment.
Yeah,
they're not going to be able to work through all of them.
They did. Well, they might.
They might.
It depends.
It
depends on whether or not who the person, if they push the thing.
That's right.
There looks like there's some good rewards potentially too.
Yeah.
So
I hope that one is one of them.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting, I had a lot of fun talking with you about this.
This was great.
Yeah, this was great. We're going to do this again.
Yeah. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny. We didn't do a Buddy and Lisa show since February.
Yeah.
We just recorded 2 of them today, so we're gonna mix it up. We're back. We're going to keep doing Big Brother at least every other week. I'd say every 2 weeks. Yeah,
every other week.
Yeah, and then we our previous show, which was also going to air this week, is going to be on television shows, not counting Big Brother, although we talk about it, that we've been enjoying lately.
Yeah,
over the past several months.
And we'll be doing another one about books because we're both reading a lot of books.
So check those out, and also check out my other podcast, Pop and Prose. Haven't done one of those in a while, but I'm going to get back into doing those regularly as well.
And I'm Lisa in the Trees.
Yeah, look for her online. Look for me online.
Yeah.
Both.
I'm not creepy or anything. You don't have to actually
She's not literally in the trees.
You don't have to close your blinds because you're worried that I'm up literally in the bushes staring at you. That would be
at least that's what she's telling you.
Especially as we're talking about Big Brother.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Oh my God, they bring you on.
Oh my God, yeah. I would love that. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Okay, well, thanks for listening to us,
you.
and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.